What's up everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video. Last time, we had some pretty big changes. First off, we got to see the true power of Majin Cell, leading to Tarble's death. But that wasn't the end. Cell was able to get stronger, and eventually faced off against Buu. Meanwhile, our heroes escaped to the sacred world of Kai's, where Vegeta began his training, not only to avenge his brother, but to kill Buu and Cell. But will it work out? For this part, let's set a like goal of 2,500 likes. And once we hit that, I'll continue with another part to this series. Anyways, let's pick up from here. So, naturally, after the Z-Sword is broken, that means Elder Kai is here. With Vegeta being the one to break the sword, Elder Kai decides he's going to perform his ritual on Vegeta. Oh, cool. Well, I guess that means Goku and Gohan will continue training together, and they'll see if Vegeta's power-up actually works. The good thing is, Cell and Buu still aren't done yet, not in the slightest, which means they have the time for this to happen. In about a day, Vegeta's potential will be drawn out and the ritual will be done. So, in the meantime, we could return to Earth. Cell begins hyperventilating. After escaping Buu, he's struggling to even stand. He feels wrong. Something in him doesn't feel right. It must have something to do with Buu's energy. Did he absorb too much? Is it not compatible with him? Are the magical properties bad? Cell can't tell. A million thoughts are racing through his head, and he doesn't know what's happening. He stumbles away to safety, needing to collect himself before he fights the Majin once more. In his head, he begins hearing voices, 2 of them in fact. As discussed last time, Cell absorbed the essence of those 2 Kais that were inside Buu, South Supreme Kai and the Grand Supreme Kai. These 2 Kais are the same ones that influenced Buu and kept him under control. But the thing is, it's a different case here. For Buu, he was basically uncontrollable and had no intelligence whatsoever, as we've seen with Kid Buu. But for Cell, it's different. He's much smarter and much more mentally sound. So it's not like the Kais are going to have an easy time controlling him. It's going to be a bit tough for them to get through to him, but with their combined essence and magic, it's enough to begin influencing the android at the very least. And this is why he begins hearing their voices in his head. Cell is literally losing control over his body and mind, struggling to keep control. It's almost as if he's conversing with himself in his mind. He has an inner dialogue of sorts. But eventually, this begins to balance out. Cell is able to retain control of himself. His mental fortitude is enough to keep the Kais out. But they keep trying, desperately trying to control Cell, or at least influence him somewhat. But it seems like it may not be enough. Although, there is somewhat of a change. While Cell retains most of his control, the Kais do get some sort of influence over him. Changes do begin to occur within Cell. And not only is it the Kais, but even a bit of Tarble is in there. It's just his DNA, but maybe it can be used by the Kais to influence him some more. Not to mention all the DNA of the other heroes inside him. As Cell gets more stable, Buu continues his rampage around Earth. He's looking for Cell, but also looking for some food and sweets. He goes around cities turning people into candy, looting every place of its food as well. It's the Buu we all know and love, going around and turning innocent people into food and then eating them. What a great guy. About a day passes, Cell continues his existential crisis while Buu continues eating people, and then Vegeta ends up arriving on Earth, much stronger than before. The ritual has been completed and it's successful. He now has access to the ultimate form. While not a crazy boost like Gohan got in the main story, Vegeta definitely would have a lot of potential within him, and the power boost would be noticeable, enough to even fight Buu. Buu's surprised, but glad to see that one of the fighters is back. At least this will give him some fun. Vegeta's equally surprised. Buu looks different, and Buu wonders why Vegeta looks like he hasn't transformed. The two are both confused, but they can tell that the other is stronger. Of course, the two aren't going to exchange many words. Right away, they get to fighting. In Ultimate, Vegeta does have a clear advantage in power. A pretty big one at that. It catches Buu off guard a bit, but Buu has a plan. Instead of trying to fight Vegeta head on, he decides why not try to steal Vegeta's power instead. If he can find a way to absorb Vegeta, then he'll definitely win. No one will stop him then. Vegeta lands an attack that blows off one of Buu's arms, and he regenerates it. But this is good. He begins distracting Vegeta with candy beams, and while he shoots these beams, he uses detached pieces from himself to creep towards Vegeta. Buu then gives an evil grin as he fights. When Vegeta suddenly notices these pieces approaching from behind, Vegeta turns around and sees a wall of pink goo. He braces himself, ready to destroy it, but before it can connect, something ends up stopping it. Buu's surprised too. He can't control these pieces for some reason. They're not moving. He's then suddenly hit in the face by a massive blast. Vegeta has a false hope as he senses Tarble's energy, but then realizes why he does sense Tarble's energy. He sees Cell standing there, ready to help. He's confused and angered. Why is Cell helping, and why is he still alive? Cell can't explain right now, but he tells Vegeta to trust him. He's not the same Cell from before. They can settle this later. As the two converse, Buu lunges back towards them, and the two begin blocking the Majin's attacks. Cell prepares a Gallic gun and Vegeta does the same. They launch it together, destroying the Majin pretty easily. Boo tries to regenerate during the blast, but the two keep on firing. Eventually, every little bit of him is erased. Vegeta is relieved that they killed Boo, but he's still confused and a bit angry that Cell is there. And what is he doing? Cell begins explaining. He's not the same Cell anymore, not in the slightest. He tells Vegeta about the Kai inside him, and how now, he's somewhat going through a change, and it's not really over yet. He's much stronger, and he's gained new abilities, as seen during the fight when he telekinetically held Boo's pieces in the air. He was strong enough to hold those back, not to mention strong enough to even help destroy Boo. But besides the new techniques and increase in power, the Kais now influence him somewhat. Cell's beginning to have a sort of epiphany. While the Kais influence him, Cell retains most of the control. In a way, this makes him more neutral if anything. He realizes that his perfection is an amazing gift, and he's better than pretty much everyone, and he realizes there's more to the universe than destroying stuff. He's not good, but he's not really evil. He's slowly progressing towards a point of neutrality, and he's kinda coming to terms with what he is now. Shin and everyone then teleport in, seeing that it's safe and having heard what happened. But what amazes Shin most is what Cell said, and Cell confirms, yes, 2 Kais are inside him, South Supreme Kai and Grand Supreme Kai, but it's not like he's gonna give them up somehow. No, these 2 are for him now. Again, he's not entirely a good guy. He still does retain some of Cell's evilness. And in terms of power right now, he and Ultimate Vegeta are kinda on par. The Zenkais that he got, as well as the power that he's absorbed, allowed him to get on Vegeta's level. He still does remain the most perfect being in the universe, at least by his own standards. So, what does he do now? Well, he's not gonna remain on Earth, no. He's gonna go off on his own, seeing if he can find some greater purpose in his life. But we'll get back to him later. The Dragon Balls are then gathered as Vegeta makes the wish to revive Tarble. Tarble is brought back, and the two are elated to see each other. You can see Vegeta is completely different in this scenario. Tarble is one of the few people that Vegeta heavily cares about, and the two are glad that things are somewhat back to normal. In the meantime, Goku and Gohan continue their training with the other two. With Ultimate, Vegeta is now the strongest, and due to how potent Ultimate is, he stops pursuing Super Saiyan forms even. It draws out all of his potential, which is better than any multiplier can do. Plus, there's no stamina issues. Sticking with this will be more than enough. Tarble decides to pursue a new idea as well. Instead of going for regular Super Saiyan forms, he decides, why not use his tail to his advantage? He is the only one with a tail, and he wants to see, maybe he can combine Great Ape with something else. It's not necessarily useful now, but with a little bit of ingenuity, he can definitely make it something worthwhile. As for Goku and Gohan, they continue down their normal path of trying to improve Super Saiyan more, trying to go beyond Super Saiyan 2 even. So, what about Cell? Well, eventually he comes to his senses and decides, why not go visit the Kais? He is part Kai after all. If he wants to get stronger, maybe he can try and convince them to train him somehow, despite him already being stronger than them. Shin and Kibito are kinda torn on this, but they're able to quickly see that Cell definitely is not the same as he was before. He is actually genuine about it. He's completely neutral and only focused on improving himself now. He has no ulterior motives or anything. Shin can even read his mind and tell this. And while Cell occasionally goes to the sacred world of Kais to train, he also voyages throughout the universe, seeking more knowledge and power. Occasionally, he does end up on Earth, creating for some awkward reunions with everyone, and they're all able to see his progression. Instead of the same egotistical being he was before, set on destroying everyone and everything, he's a lot more down to earth and insightful than he was. Although they barely have any control, the two Kais within him are actually kinda surprised. Well, at least it all turned out for the better. Life remains like this for a few years. Eventually, Beerus does end up waking up pretty much like normal. But instead of going to Goku first, the person he first seeks out is Cell. Because Cell has connection with Shin, Beerus can find him pretty easily and explain what's going on. He is aware that Cell is the strongest person here after all, and part Saiyan. Not to mention, he's very knowledgeable. Maybe he knows something about the Super Saiyan God. Beerus and Cell end up fighting, but of course Cell ends up losing. Beerus is intrigued though, and Cell as well as the Kais end up leading him to Earth. First off, Vegeta fights him, showing off the power of Ultimate, but surprisingly, it doesn't really do much to Beerus. Tarble then decides to show off his new form, something that he's been working on for a while. He turns into a Great Ape using an artificial moon. Vegeta's already seen this, but this is the first time everyone else is. Although Vegeta's pretty concerned, the last time Tarble did this, he lost control pretty quickly. Tarble then goes Super Saiyan on top of Great Ape, turning into a golden Great Ape, and he ends up losing control like before. He still has issue gaining control over himself. And without that, he can't really use this form to the fullest. I'm sure you guys already know what I'm referring to, but Tarble's not quite there yet. At least he's on the right track though. Tarble's power in Golden Great Ape is pretty amazing, but since he lost control, Beerus is easily able to work around Tarble. I mean, even if Tarble had control, Beerus would still win here. So, he ends up knocking Tarble out, reverting him back to his human form. So much for that transformation. Goku and Gohan have an idea, but they decide against it. What actually is the idea that they're planning? Well, while Vegeta and Cell were fighting Buu, Elder Kai ended up giving a gift to Goku and Gohan, something that they could have as a last resort in case Vegeta's power wasn't enough to defeat Buu. It's a pair of earrings, and apparently if they put them on, they'll fuse into a much stronger being, although it's a permanent fusion. And even so, it might not work against Beerus, so they saved the Potara earrings for later, keeping it in mind in case they need it. So it seems like they're pretty much out of luck. There's no Super Saiyan God here, but there is one more option of how to figure out where to get one. Like normal, the Dragon Balls are gathered and Shenron is summoned, and everyone finds out about the Super Saiyan God ritual. The good thing is here, they have more than enough Saiyans. There's Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. Plus, Tarble's there now, and there's also Cell who has Saiyan DNA. But since they're not sure Cell will even work there, they decide to bring Tarble in. Not that it really matters too much. So, the ritual works, and Goku's the one to get Super Saiyan God. He ends up fighting Beerus, but surprisingly, even with this brand new power, it's not enough. Beerus is impressed, but Goku can't defeat him at all. But suddenly, during the fight, he's joined by someone else. While Goku and Beerus were fighting, everyone realized that Goku may need help. Thankfully, they still had enough people for a ritual, this time with Cell involved. And Beerus grins as he sees the next person to join the fight. In Super Saiyan God, Gohan joins. And while Beerus did want a one-on-one, this definitely will make things more interesting. The two are impressive individually, but now with two Super Saiyan Gods, Beerus has more than he could want. It's amazing, and he's happy to have it. But even with two of them fighting together, it's still not enough. But Beerus tells him not to worry. He's more than impressed with these people that he's seen on Earth. And not to mention, he has not one, but two Super Saiyan Gods now. This is great. What's better is he has all this great food on Earth that he didn't know about before. He's more than pleased enough. So, everything ends peacefully. Goku goes to train with Beerus later on, while Vegeta stays on Earth, happy with Ultimate. Tarble is set on pursuing his own form instead as well. So those two aren't too concerned on Super Saiyan God. They figure a breakthrough is about to come to them soon, so the two end up training together. As for Gohan, he retains Super Saiyan God, but of course stays on Earth. But he does have a brand new training partner. Cell is definitely intrigued with the power of both Gohan and Goku, although Goku's pretty occupied with Beerus and Cell doesn't want to be stuck in one place. Cell says to Gohan that he may come to visit Earth and train a bit. After all, his only goal is to grow stronger. Plus, with the Kais in him, Cell can now teleport due to having Kai, so he could visit Beerus' planet whenever he wants, and then go to Earth whenever he needs, while also being able to go to the sacred world of Kais whenever. This gives him great mobility and makes his schedule very flexible. But since Goku is so preoccupied, and he can't learn too much else from the Kais, Gohan and Cell form somewhat of a rivalry. They train together most of the time. And it's great, Gohan never has to leave Earth, and Cell always has someone to rely on. Pretty weird, right? Gohan and Cell becoming friends? Well, that's the case here. But, as you could tell, there's unique paths for every Saiyan. Tarble is pursuing a brand new Saiyan form, one above even the Super Saiyan forms, relying on the Great Ape transformation. Vegeta, he wants to pursue something else, but he knows that Ultimate is way better than literally any other form, so he sticks with that. Goku wants to surpass Super Saiyan God somehow, as does Gohan. And for Cell, well, he's pleased with anything. He just naturally grows a lot stronger while training. Even if he's capable of these transformations, he doesn't really need them. Everything is going very smoothly so far, but a wrench is about to be thrown in everyone's plans. Eventually, Frieza ends up getting revived. And guess what? King Cold is there as well. If you remember back from a few episodes ago, things went very differently. So now the Frieza Force has two great people to rely on. Frieza's very angry. He never even got to show off his final form to everyone. He wants to watch them feel terror, wanting to enact his revenge. As for King Cold, he doesn't really care as much, but reviving Frieza has been a long time coming. Really, they just did this because they needed the extra manpower. Of course, they all plan on getting revenge, going to Earth, eradicating the Saiyans, and getting their revenge. But before that, they have to train, an idea that disgusts Frieza. King Cold isn't too fond of it either, but he realizes that it's necessary. In their current state, they won't be enough. Instead of just Goku and Vegeta this time, they're concerned about Tarble too. They haven't been able to surveil Earth much, but from what they could tell, there's other strong fighters too, and the ones they knew from before have grown much stronger. So, while they hate the idea, Frieza and King Cold begin their training, ready to grow stronger and kill those pesky Saiyans on Earth. Meanwhile, everyone continues their training, aware that someone summoned Shenron, but very unaware that Frieza's back. They'll find out, but we'll have to save that for the next part. This is where we'll leave off for now. So what did you guys think about this part? Do you think Tarble will be successful in finding a new form? How strong will Vegeta get? What about Goku and Gohan? And what do you think lies ahead for Cell, both in terms of power and development? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, and let's try to hit that like goal from the beginning so we can get another part to this series. If you haven't already, why not subscribe? as well as hitting the bell icon to get notified about any future parts of this What If, or any other videos that I upload on my channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you out in my next video.